Should you roll that old 401k? I mean, it seems everyone is doing it, and I'm sure a lot of financial advisors would love for you to do it, but does it make sense? So before you do the rollover, let's look at times when you should consider not rolling over your 401k and when you should consider to roll over your 401k.
Lightning strikes and then you're gonna know my name.
Hey, look, 401k rollovers to an IRA, they're very commonplace. In fact, according to a Council of Economic Advisors report, $779 billion of 401k monies was rolled over into IRAs in 2022. And over the years, look, I have seen more and more rollovers from a 401k. Hey, but there are a few things to consider before rolling over your 401k. My name is Keith Wilson, and I am a financial advisor helping folks just like you navigate their way through these types of financial decisions. And in this video, I would like to share with you, some things to consider, why you perhaps should not roll over your 401k, and why perhaps you should roll over your 401k. So let's start with why you may not want to roll over that 401k. Well, first of all, you could lose the opportunity to take advantage of the rule of 55. You see, there is a special rule that applies to 401ks. It works like this. In the year of you turning 55 and you separate from your employer, maybe you retired, for example, or just quit, then you can have access to that 401k money without incurring the 10% penalty. Now, you would still owe, income tax on the money withdrawn, but no 10% penalty, because normally you would have to wait until age 59 and a half before that penalty goes away. Now, this rule of 55 is particularly helpful if you are planning on retiring early and you need access to your 401k money, to bridge the gap to age 59 and a half or Social Security. But the rule of 55 only applies to 401ks, not IRAs. So by rolling over your 401k into an IRA, then you lost that opportunity. But if you are already over 59 and a half, then no need to implement that rule of 55 because you've reached the age where the 10% penalty does not apply. Now, there are other things to consider with the rule of 55, so take a look at this video I did about this in more detail right up there. Another reason you may not want to roll over your 401k is if you plan on doing backdoor Roth conversions. With a backdoor Roth, you are essentially making a non-deductible contribution to an IRA and then immediately converting that to a Roth. It's a way for, high income earners that wouldn't normally be eligible for Roth contributions to fund a Roth through the back door. However, if you have monies in an IRA when you do this, then some of that conversion would be taxable. And this is called the pro rata rule. But if all of your money is in a 401k and none in IRAs when doing the backdoor Roth, then the pro rata rule would not apply. Now again, there are other things to consider on the backdoor Roth, and fortunately for you, I have a video that goes into a lot more detail, so check that out right up here. Now, another consideration for not rolling over your 401k is if you have company stock inside the 401k. You see, most people may not realize a benefit of what is called net unrealized appreciation. So if that company stock you have has greatly appreciated, you could save a lot on taxes if you do this. If you transfer that stock to a brokerage account. Now, you would pay taxes on the original purchase price at your current income tax bracket, but any gains on that company stock would be taxed at a capital gains tax rate, which is lower. So if you did not know about the net unrealized appreciation and just, whatever, I'm going to roll over the whole amount in the 401k into the IRA, you could miss out on this opportunity. Now, this NUA, net unrealized appreciation, that can get a little complicated. And again, I did a video on that. Check it out right up here. Okay, so those are a few reasons why you may want to consider before you start rolling that 401k into an IRA. But what about reasons where it may make sense to go ahead, roll that 401k into an IRA? So let's get into that. But hey, before we do, why not consider subscribing to this channel, giving this video a thumbs up. I post a lot of videos addressing retirement that you may find helpful. Okay, so here are some pretty compelling reasons to go ahead and roll your 401k. First, and probably the biggest, is your investment options are wide open with an IRA versus a 401k. So once you roll that money from your 401k to an IRA, you can invest in whatever, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, or ETFs, and even individual stocks. Now, most 401ks, on the other hand, they are very limited in what you can invest in. So that's not the case with IRAs. So with the IRA, you could get a lot more sophisticated in how that money is invested. Now, another reason to consider rolling your 401k would be having access to professional advice. So you see, with 401ks, you really have either very little or no direction in how to invest the assets, when to rebalance, how you're going to allocate the money, and so forth. And if you leave your 401k behind with your old job, you might be treated as a second-class citizen, and it could be harder to get up-to-date information on the changes in the plan. By working with an advisor, you could have someone making those investment decisions for you, and depending on the type of advisor, you could get deeper financial planning that goes along with it, and it's more of a relationship throughout your retirement years. Now, of course, there are going to be fees associated with those types of services, so make sure you are aware of those fees and how it affects you. Another thing to consider is Roth conversions. Some employer plans do not offer Roth conversions when you've been separated by the company, and if they do, generally you may have to convert the whole amount to a Roth, which would impact you with a possible large tax situation. However, if you rolled your 401k into an IRA, then you can convert portions of that IRA to a Roth. And that's giving you a lot more flexibility and control. The next consideration of when it may make sense to roll that 401k are withdrawal concerns. You see, when it comes time that you want to withdraw some money from your 401k, you cannot go in there and pick which funds to pull from. They would just generally would sell across all funds to generate the cash you need for that withdrawal. And this would be an issue. One fund is down and one fund is up. You cannot strategically go in there and make those withdrawal decisions. With an IRA, you have more control on which fund or security to sell to generate that cash you would need. So a lot to consider when deciding to roll or not to roll that old 401k into an IRA. So in short, you have these options when leaving your employer. You could leave it there. You could move it to a new 401k with your new employer. You could cash it out, pay the taxes, or you could roll it over to an IRA. So before making the decision, look, weigh out those pros and those cons, see which makes the most sense to you. Get with your tax or financial advisor for more guidance. And if we need to talk, take a look at the resources below, how to get in touch with me. Anyway, hope this was helpful, and if so, consider subscribing to the channel, and we will see you next time.
If I don't know any